Well, welcome to Travel Talk Tuesday. This is November the 30th, 2021. Can you believe it? It is a big celebration for us tonight because it's episode number 53. So I've got 52 weeks in the books. I'm having a great time doing this. So welcome to Travel Talk Tuesday tonight. I got a bottle of bubbly here to open up. This is, can you believe this? Vintage. Now, champagne is usually not a vintage, but this is vintage champagne 2005. Gosh, that's old. What, 16 years old? So I'm going to uncork this thing and we're going to be drinking a little bit of that. I wish some of you guys were over here to do that with us too. But way back in the day, we had a subscription to some California sparkling wine, which is from Mum, which is a vineyard in Champagne, France, but they also have a vineyard there in California as well. So I'm gonna uncork this here in just a second. Hey, why not? Let me uncork it now. Maybe it won't put a hole through the ceiling. Let's see. I don't know, if being that old, it may take me a while. Here we go. I'm not gonna waste any of it. I know how to open it up. A little glass. Let's see here. Let's see how good vintage champagne is. Rosé, you can see, a little pink. Let's see what that tastes like. Huh, pretty good. Okay, well, salute, or salut, since it's from France, maybe. Okay, tonight I've decided to venture off the beaten path and to do a little reminiscing on what we have covered for the last few weeks, last 52 weeks. But don't worry, there's not 52 episodes here tonight. So we'll kind of keep it down to 30 minutes or so, depending on how much I talk, I suppose. But the first thing I want to do is to introduce you to the very first episode that we did, which was around the 2nd of December last year in 2020. And I talked about Croatia and about a cruise that Charlotte and I went on back in the day. So let me share my video back here again, and we can move on with that. I still want to redo this Croatia tour if we can ever get around to it. So Croatia, I've got a map of Europe. You can see it over there on the Adriatic Sea. It's highlighted in yellow.
Hi, David McGuffin here. I hope you enjoy this look around Dubrovnik, Croatia. This is a unique look at the city of Dubrovnik. We have the old town walls here and the scattered new town all up and down the hillside. We're on a cruise here with Katharina Lines and just having a great time. Our second full day here, and we're going to spend a couple of days here in Dubrovnik before we head back up to Split. A 7-day cruise, fantastic. Hope maybe one day you can join us in it.
So Dubrovnik is a fantastic city on the Adriatic. You can see it. It's a walled city right there.
Hi, David McGuffin here on the Adriatic Sea, coastal islands of Croatia. We've hopped on a private charter cruise here and doing a 7-day sail from Split to Dubrovnik and back. And it's a fantastic opportunity and a fantastic journey. We just had a blast every day. It consists a little bit of sailing during the daytime, swimming during the daytime, get into port at night, do a walking tour of the city, and have the evening free for a lot of the time. So it's just a great time to have a relaxing vacation. 7 nights, unpack only once, and we'll kind of looking at this, Charlotte and I are looking at this to add to our repertoire of tours. Hi, I'm David McGuffin, and today I'm in the country of Montenegro. I hope you enjoy this look around the Bay of Kotar. This Bay of Kotar is a fjord way down in the Adriatic, a natural harbor, and an inlet with a very, very small entrance, which we're looking at down through here.
So I'm going to stop that right there and say that when I did this the first week of December last year, I really had high hopes of getting a group of people, a small group of people, to go together and rent out a boat on the Adriatic for a week and do that tour in Croatia. We had a lot of people who were interested, enough to fill up at least half the boat, which is fine with me. And but gosh, COVID-19 continued to get in the way during 2021. So maybe 2022, 2023, we can work this out and get a group of us to do this. You can see on the map here of Europe that now the little yellow highlighted area is Northern Ireland, way, way up to the north. And there's a place called the Giant's Causeway up there I wanted to highlight tonight.
Hi, David McGuffin here on the far north coast of Ireland at the Giant's Causeway. I hope you enjoy this 60-second look around this magnificent example of God's handiwork. Geologists say that some 60 million years ago, when the earth was forming and the tectonic plates were breaking apart, that a lava eruption happened in this area. And over a course of many thousands of years, these bauxite columns formed as the Earth's core, which had been pushed here, were drying.
This is a phenomenal place. In the summertime,
the Giant's Causeway,
it doesn't get dark till 11 o'clock p.m.
Your adventure starts right here with David McGuffin's
Daylight at 4. The next section is Northern Wales. It's part of the United Kingdom.
Hi, David McGuffin here from North Wales in the town of Conwy. I'm standing on the turret of Conwy Castle. The Bay of Conwy is here, and this castle was built in 1290 in a short span of about 4 years. King Edward I conquered the last King Llewellyn here in Wales, and he built 5 of these fortresses around to protect the English inhabitants that they transplanted here and to ward off the little tribes of Welsh people. And it worked, because now Wales is a part of England, no matter if the Welshmen like it or not.
On our tour, we do Northern Wales and Scotland all together in one whack, one tour. And it works out very well with a stay in the lake.
From within the keep of Conwy Castle, your adventure starts right here with David McGuffin's Exploring Europe.
Okay, so it's interesting that my granddaughters just walked in, and now we're going to talk about a place in Tuscany that we really love, and it's in the town of Podere, Tuscany, and it's at the Villa Agriturismo Marcampo. And so last January, we had, on the coldest day of the year here in Florida, I ordered a case or two of wine from Claudia Del Duca, and from her vineyards there on Agriturismo Marcampo. And we sat around outside in the midst of COVID because we were social distancing, and drank wine with Claudia zooming in and doing a virtual tasting with us. So a little bit of that, and then a little bit of our vacation with my family in Podere, Marcampo in July. So you'll enjoy this. And you'll probably remember it if you've been with me the entire year. It's okay if I'll come in here.
Terra Blu. First of all, the name. All the names of the wines recall who we are and where we are. Terra Blu means blue earth because of the variety of soil that we have. It's a blue clay. And Vermentino 100%, traditional indigenous Tuscan white grape. Not only Tuscan, it's also a grape grown in Sardinia, Corsica, and Liguria.
So this is Claudia talking about her white
Tyrrhenian
wine,
area close by the sea. So it's a grape that grows very well on the coasts. In fact, if you go in the internal side of Tuscany, you don't find Vermentino. Vermentino is very mineral.
Wrapped up with heaters.
Of course, because of the soil, but also because of the influence of the sea. As I was saying, we are considered to be coast by climate. So we get all the influence of the seaside. And it's only made in stainless steel vats because this is a white wine that has to be drink young for people who like easy drinking white wines. But if we are a little bit more patient, we arrive at the stage like it is now, then maybe recalls a little bit more of a more mature Chardonnay. So something that has also aged in oak barrel, but this actually has not. It just gained complexity thanks to the aging in the bottle. So when we taste the wines, remember that the first thing we have to do is to hold the glass from the stem or the base.
Okay, David McGuffin here. We are at Podere Marcampo, one of my favorite, or my best favorite agriturismo here in Tuscany. And you see the vines behind us. We have our Lillian's here with me, and we're watching this sunset. Look at it back here. It is beautiful.
I'm taking pictures.
Yeah.
I'm a movie
Julia,
star
come
right
in
now.
here and get in here in this picture too.
I'm a movie star.
Yeah. So there's a sunset back here. Look at it going down to the west over those mountains to the Ligurian Sea. And let's pan over this way just because so we can see the vineyards.
Look at beautiful.
Look at this.
There's barely any grapes, but there's We're in Italy right now.
We're in Italy. In what region of Italy? So how do you say good evening in Italian?
Buongiorno.
Buonasera. Buonasera.
Buonasera, Claudia. Thank you for letting me.
Yeah, isn't it wonderful? So here comes the sunset.
Da-da-da.
Mimi, you ought to come in and get to this video.
Here, let me.
No, come over here. You should get it with us.
Okay.
And then we can, yeah.
In our video.
Yeah. So our part of our families here is great. It's wonderful for everybody to be here. And that sunset is
It's amazing.
phenomenal. Look at it going down. Like ciao bella. That's pretty appropriate. Okay, tonight we're having our first dinner at Marcampo.
Next to
We have
Charlotte
roasted
and her
potatoes,
parents,
green
Boris
beans,
and Ralph.
and Brian cooked the sausage and hamburger, chianina beef, which is a famous white cow from right here in Tuscany. So earlier we had tomatoes and burrata, 2 helpings of that. And so we have a great beginning of our trip here in Agriturismo Marcampo in Podere. Okay?
Okay, so that finished up Italy for us here. And now you noticed Ireland on the map of Europe is highlighted. And Ireland, second only to Italy, is our most popular destination. And we do quite a few tours there. And some years back, a videographer and friend of mine, Abby, joined us, and we chronicled a tour around Ireland. And here's just a few highlights from that.
Everyone, my name is what's my first name again? Oh yeah, Brendan. Yes, Brendan. Brendan is my name.
You're the navigator.
And I'll be with you throughout your trip. I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to Ireland. We have a great traditional Irish welcome. It's called Céad Míle Fáilte. In English, it means 100,000 welcomes. So 100,000 welcomes to each and every one of you.
Thank you.
Drove all the way across country to the west coast.
Doolin.
To Doolin, yes.
And the first 2 days in Doolin were awesome. It's probably the smallest town that we'll visit during our trip.
We're friends.
We ate dinner the first night at a place called McDermott's Pub. That had the best Irish stew. Then the following night we ate there again and they had the best Guinness beef pie.
Yes.
It looked like a family of four, like guitar, accordion, fiddling. We got to meet some locals, got to dance and jig with some locals as well. So experience a little kind of small town culture is really fun.
Yes.
I can sing, but I can't dance. This is Janice and Joe, who also were part of this video that were chronicling our tour around the island.
I mean, we were out in California and saw cliffs down to the ocean, but nothing like that. It was just amazing. That's something I'm glad I got to see.
It's probably overwhelming how pretty it is.
Coming from Doolin to Dingle and seeing the different fields, I mean, it's like a whole different countryside, the fields and the different colors of the green. That was what I thought Ireland was.
It's an old church called Kilmaceder, out of the Dingle Peninsula. From the 12th
Every
century.
corner was breathtaking.
Yeah, it's totally different than what I thought it would be. It's so much old history melded in with the modern day buildings. I mean, you'll have these ruins from like the 12th century sitting next to somebody's house. So it's just amazing when you see that.
Good. Cora wants to do that one.
I know the clapping.
She wants to sing it.
No, absolutely not.
Part of the
I think my favorite part
of being in Ireland is being able to go to the pubs every night and not only participate in the crack, which is not anything illegal. Crack means the Irish word for talk and chat and everything, and just participate in the conversation, because you never meet an Irishman or Irish woman that doesn't want to talk to you. But participating in the crack, have a pint or so, but also the music is so very important to the tradition and the cultural heritage there in Ireland. And so we actually did one tour in Ireland in 2021 in July, in the first part of August. And unfortunately, because of COVID-19, the pubs were closed, and it was just such a void in the entire experience of being in Ireland. But the positive thing was I was there with a musical ensemble, a French horn choir. And so we just picked up our own little venues outside everywhere we could go, and became buskers, who are street performers. And they played all over the place. And so that was a very positive thing. But being in Ireland and being in the pubs and singing the folk music and the traditional music is just a very important part in Ireland.
David, he's just really willing to hang out, sit around, have a drink in a pub, and do whatever people want to do. I mean, he's all about hanging out and closing those pubs down with us.
so he was going over the Cardi Mountain. So he went down and fall. His money was counting.
I'm just getting ready. I don't want to miss it.
Beware about the sea where I'm shooting. Singing, right? And we'd like you to
8 more times.
Lovely stuff.
Knowledgeable of the area, great with his history. So he's made the trip very, very enjoyable.
As I walked around the corner and someone saw my grin, and when they smiled, I realized I had passed it on to them. Now, I thought about the smile and I realized its worth. A single smile like mine could pass around the earth. So if you feel a smile begin, don't leave it undetected. Just start an epidemic quick and get the world infected. There you are.
Always a poem or a
Sorry,
song.
it's the coffee. I drank too much with this morning.
Dublin's fair city, where the girls are pretty, I first set my eyes on sweet Molly Malone. She wheeled her wheelbarrow through streets broad and narrow, singing cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. Join in! Alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, singing cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh.
So I've been fortunate enough to go to this country, to Greece, since my very first tour ever to Europe in 1977. And I keep going back, keep going back. Last summer, Greece was the very first country that opened up for tourism for Americans. And we hopped on it and had 2 tours back to back in Greece and just had a fantastic time of being there. But here's a little look at that and some of our favorite experiences. This is the ancient town, predates Greece by 2 generations of Mycenae.
The Mycenaean civilization here was from 1700 to 1100 BC, and then they disappeared, and no one knows really why they disappeared. Behind me is one of the biggest feats of art, the Lion's Gate. Your adventure starts right here with David McGuffin's Exploring Europe. Hey, David McGuffin here. I'm still in Greece, but I'm on the island of Hydra, H-Y-D-R-A. We might call it Hydra, but I'm at a little beach from Hydra town called Lycos Beach, maybe a mile to the west. And this is one of my go-to beaches. Charlotte and I really love this place, and I spent the last few hours here basking in the sun, the shade, and having lunch just nearby and drinking a little local wine, but it's been fantastic. So I'm heading back to Hydra town, and I'm going to share my adventure with you as we go. You can see some of the characteristic Venetian architectural style here in the fortified walls. with the little turrets and cupolas for guarding. But you can also see with the red bricks, typical of what you would see in the Arsenale in Venice. And so this thing is pretty amazing. It was built, like I said earlier, in only 2 years, from 1711 to 1713. Unfortunately, the Venetians only defended this area for about a year, and then the Turks took over all the way until 1823 or so, when the Greeks defeated the Turks and won their independence. So a lot of history up here. The Palamini Fortress above Nafplio. We hiked down from there. Luckily, we took a bus stop, but it's a long way down. Hey, thanks for hanging on with me and looking at this. Your adventure starts right here with David McGuffin's Exploring Europe. David McGuffin here, post-COVID travel in Greece. I'm up here, what are we, the 24th of June, 2021. Notice too that there is hardly anyone on the Acropolis. You're looking at the Propylaea, the entrance to the Acropolis, here over my shoulder. So I'm facing Parthenon, which is just here in front of me. And this is the island of Santorini, the little village of Ia, O-I-A, Ia, and just the characteristic quintessential view of a Greek village on a caldera, volcanic caldera. As you recall, Diane, you're watching, I can see. So I don't want to leave out, we do quite a few tours in Spain, in France, and in Portugal, and sometimes those get lost by the wayside, but I'm just going to show you a little bit about where this circle is here in Spain. It's Barcelona, just to kind of give you an idea that we actually do get around to 23 different countries all over Europe and have tours that go from 8 to 17 days all over the continent of Europe. Now, for me, Barcelona can be broken up into probably 5 or 6 different areas. The first one is this area, the main street running from the center of town down into the port, known as Las Ramblas in Spanish, but La Rambla in Catalan dialect. Now you can see it's a broad pedestrian-only street, tree line, so it's great day and night, with restaurants and cafes all the way up and down that. And it's just a fantastic place to go stroll and visit. Back in the day, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, it was known as Europe's most well-known area to be pickpocketed. And you can see this is from several years back, many tourists on this street. But since then, it's been cleaned up a little bit. And so it's very safe, but you do need to watch your stuff and wear your money belt. Right off Las Ramblas is a market that's known as the La Bucaria market. And this market has been here in this location since the 12th century. And we'll hear you a little video about La Sagrada Familia. This church, known as La Sagrada Familia, is the brainchild of Antonio Gaudi, a local architect who labored on this church for 43 years, from 1883 until his death in 1926. Since his death in 1926, work has stopped and begun, all according to donations and the entrance fees paid by tourists visiting the cathedral. The goal is to have the cathedral finished by the 100th anniversary of Gaudi's death in 2026. When completed, there will be 18 huge spires soaring to the heavens, some reaching almost 330 feet in height. You'll see here some of those spires reaching up, and wonderful stained glass windows and the modernistic columns that support the cathedral. For just a second, because
I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the next little segments of what we're doing, about some of our tours in Germany and Austria, Czech Republic, all of those areas that are just north of the Alps and kind of hug the Alps. And this time of year, and it's December, typically there are Christmas markets going on all over the place, whether it be in Italy, France, Germany, Austria, the Czech Republic, Hungary, whatever. And a common item that is served there is hot mulled wine. And the term typically is Glühwein. But this afternoon, I dug out my journal, found my recipe for Glühwein that I got from somebody at a kiosk back a couple of years ago, and whipped it up. So it's on the stove right here behind me. So while I'm showing you the recipe, we're going to serve it up here for our friends and family, and have a little taste of it. Hot mulled Glühwein. Hey, David McGuffin here in my kitchen, and it is the 30th of November. So we're just about the time approaching the Christmas season. And tonight I'm going to show you how I make my homemade recipe of hot mulled wine, typically called Glühwein or punch in the Germanic countries of Austria and Germany and all across there. It's hot wine, hot mulled wine, basically. Okay, the ingredients for Glühwein are pretty simple. I have 1 liter of dry red wine. This happens to be from Italy, but it can be any red wine that you want to get. But make sure it's a liter, because this works well for a little bit more than the standard 750 milliliter bottle of wine. I also have 2 oranges that I'm going to zest and use the juice from. I have about 20 to 30 cloves I'm going to use, 2 to 3 cinnamon sticks. I have about a half a cup of sugar. I have over here some anise or licorice flavored liqueur. And then all of that's going to be combined in a stainless steel pot and warmed up. So here we go. Let's make this Glühwein. So the first step in making this wine is to add the water. I have about a half a cup of water. And then I'm going to put about a half a cup of sugar, 1/3 to a half a cup of sugar. Let the water come to a boil and melt the sugar. It's important to use a non-reactive stainless steel pot and a spoon as well, or a ladle, just so that no other type of metal will react with the wine and all of the other ingredients. So I've let the water get warm and all of the sugar in the pot has melted, but we're not quite getting to boiling, so nothing needs to boil on this whole recipe. Okay, next in goes 4 cinnamon sticks. I've got, since I'm using a bigger bottle of wine, I have 30 cloves there. And then I have the zest cut very large of the navel oranges. So that all goes into the sugar water. I have this anise flavored We need liqueur. to strain it all. So that's what we're doing.
This was very inexpensive at the liquor store today, but you can get more expensive things like ouzo or Pernard, which is also anise flavor, but just a little bit of that. Anise is more of a licorice flavor. And then I have the juice of those 2 oranges that I've juiced. I'm putting that in there. Give it a stir. Take a look in the pot and see what it looks like. Then I want to pour, the wine goes in next, and that's half of the wine. And then I'll fill the rest of the pot up with the wine. Let that come to a simmer, not quite to a boil, and then set it aside, and it's ready to drink.
So a pretty easy recipe right here, especially on a cold winter's night. It looks very, very tasty. And that's it. Glühwein from Middleburg, Florida. The next segment is a wrap up from my most recent travels in Italy. We were chronicling and trying to design a tour, or we did design a tour, which I'm calling the Amalfi and Islands tour. And the last place that we were due to work on for tonight and to show you was Naples. And I realized we went, my friends and I went to Naples. We rode the train there and we spent 6 hours, a whole Sunday afternoon in Naples, visiting a museum and then also walking through the town of Naples. And I realized that I was so concerned about being in the city and doing everything that I didn't take any video at all. So I just took some photos. And so I'm going to talk through these photos and give you my impressions, because I've been there to Naples 3 times. That was my 3rd time ever in my entire life. And my impression hasn't changed quite so much about it. So let me run through that and I'll just give you some commentary as these slides run here. This is the most important part here, the National Archaeological Museum in Naples. And then beyond that is a grand promenade. Now, I want to say that my pastor told me that one friend of his had said that going to Naples is kind of tough. You need to treat Naples as a beautiful lady with a wonderful face, a wonderful body, but hairy legs and big feet. That's how it goes. Because if you look down at the ground at Naples, you'll be disgusted. There's graffiti, garbage, and trash everywhere. But if you look up at the grand facades of the Baroque buildings, the wonderful architecture, you will be wowed. And this is a prime example of one of those streets. So did you catch it? So I messed up at the beginning, but I finally got it correct. And yes, Lori, Pastor David did tell me that. So that's how that goes. So this is walking down the street of Naples. You can see the city is wonderful. It looks beautiful. Look at all those wonderful facades. This is the Opera House here in Naples. Can you even believe that this trash is right there as well? Look at it. We stopped here at this Piazza Bellini and we had lunch there, and it was a beautiful little piazza. We had lunch, sandwiches, everything is beautiful, but we came to this little road right next to us here. That was a beautiful little tree-lined road. It was beautiful, but there's not a soul there. Still Sunday afternoon, you know. Then we came to this huge square, Piazza Dante. You remember Dante is the Italian a writer who kind of invented and wrote down the Italian language. A beautiful piazza. As long as you look up, you don't look down at all the trash and the garbage on the ground. There you go, a dumpster right there. Right there on Piazza Dante.
Oh, wow.
So this is a series of roads called that. Let me just run that back because that's an important. Little walkway that kind of all runs together, going back to Piazza Dante. This is a metro station. All this glass on this metro station is busted. The metro station down below is beautiful. And then there's a series of roads that's Dante right there. More garbage. You can see Christmas decorations up in the background. We're there in October. And this is Spacanapoli. It's a series of pedestrian streets that lead down into the very historic center of Naples where people live. Now, once we got off this street and got into this Spacanapoli, it was pretty cool because you can see no cars, but litter everywhere, graffiti everywhere, buildings being reconstructed. That's a monument to a plague, being survived a plague. A lot of pedestrian areas, a lot of good food and pastry and sweets. Pizza there as well is fantastic. This was a particular little bakery where people were lined up, you can see, to go in on a Sunday afternoon and get these little cones, sweet cones, kind of like donuts. There's a guy coming out with them, and you had to wait 20 minutes to come out and get those things. I didn't, because I wasn't in the mood for sweets, but everyone told me that it was really, really good. This little area right here is where you can go by your creche, your nativity scenes. And the entire street was filled up with these things. And locals go there and buy these things and add to them every year. And you could make them up to 10 or 15, 20 feet high. And of course, it would all be centered around the baby Jesus, Mary and Joseph at the birth. But yet it would be scenes from Naples or from that area of southern Italy. Continuing walking down Spacanapoli, and these little layered donuts, again, fogliatella. And I didn't have this either because I'm just not a real sweets fan, but they were just buying these by the dozen. These were kind of like a custard filled, very, very light phyllo pastry dough type pastry. Here's where people lived. They live up in the apartments, very, very small apartments, but have their time on the streets. And then finally, we got back to the main train station and headed back to our village. So what are we today? We're on the 30th of November. Charlotte and I are leaving on Thursday, and we're flying to Munich. Munich is right here in southern Germany, and our first tour, our first tour, which is the Christmas markets of Germany and Austria, we canceled because we've told the folks that we can't go to Christmas markets in Bavaria, and Austria is closed down at least for another week. But there's a couple of people that have said, forget that, we're going to go with wherever you take us. So we're going to go, as the plan is right now, we're leaving Munich, going across to Heidelberg, Germany, going across into France to Strasbourg, down to somewhere in Switzerland, either Zurich or Bern, to northern Italy to Bologna, and back up. And if everything continues to still be okay, as far as travel, we have a trip that's going to go to Prague and go to Vienna and go to Budapest. We'll travel around. I'll get to do some live video in situ and talk to you about what it's like to travel in the winter in the midst of COVID and into some Christmas markets that hopefully will still be open. So that's my plan. And so the next couple of weeks, Travel Talk Tuesday, I will record live during the day on Tuesday, but it's 6 hours difference. So that means I'd have to stay up till 2:30 in the morning or to 1:30 in the morning at least to give it to you live. And I don't think, if you know my travel style, I won't really be up that late. And so I'll record it, and I'll get Leslie here to kind of run it for you at 7:30 the next couple of weeks. And so, but we'll be reporting live 6 hours before you see it from places that we're visiting in Europe. Now, the very final thing is, actually those little glasses, those are glasses of Glühwein. So we've got our hot mulled Glühwein, and everywhere you go in Christmas markets, traditionally, you get a glass of Glühwein, and you pay for the Glühwein, and you pay a deposit. And then you can drink as many glasses of Glühwein as you want to. And then when you're finished with the cup, you can either keep it as a souvenir and take it home, which we have many, many souvenir Glühwein glasses, or you can turn it back in and get your deposit back. But I've come up with a sneaky way to kind of promote my tours, and I'm calling it David's 12 Days of Christmas. Now, listen, I know, and I don't want anybody to think that I'm sneaking in on the Christian concept of the 12 Days of Christmas, because I know that is once baby Jesus was born on the 25th, that there's 12 days that it took the Magi to get there and to worship baby Jesus who was born. So those are the original 12 Days of Christmas. But I'm calling it my 12 Days of Christmas because I want to promote 12 tours beginning the 23rd of December. And so one tour a day, and they're unheard of deals that, but we've got a lot of people signing up for tours for 2022, and I want to promote those. So I'm giving you a sneak peek of what they're going to be. Then you're going to have to watch day after day, beginning the 23rd, to see what the deal is on each one. Kind of sneaky on my part. So let me get this up real quick. So the first 6 are Amalfi Islands in April the 9th, Essence of Italy, Best of Italy, Tuscan Villa Vacation, another Essence of Italy, and the Best of Italy tours. And these are tours we already have 100% positive that we're going to do them. So those are those through the middle of June. And then the other 6 are coming up shortly here. And so we hope you might entice you to take a look beginning the 23rd of December and join us on one of these tour destinations, especially if you've never been to these countries. So we have a couple of Taste of Ireland tours in May and June, the Best of Scotland and Wales in the end of June and July, London and Paris, and if you want to do London, Paris, Rome, beginning on the 27th of July, the Best of France, which I've not done in many years. I'd love for some of you guys to join on that one because I'm just itching to do that tour. I'm going to be there and leading that tour for sure. And then any Christmas market tour in 2022, because who knows what's going to happen this year. So those are all those. So those are my 12 Days of Christmas beginning the 23rd of December, one tour a day promoted with some special discounts and bonuses to that. And we got plenty of Glühwein here. We also have my son Brian's cooking Bratwurst out here, so we're having that. And also we got some German potato salad, roasted potatoes, and all kind of stuff. So we're going to have a dinner here that's really festive and getting into the holiday Christmas season. So next week I'll catch you from somewhere in Germany or France. And until then, hey, your adventure starts right here. Merry Christmas from David McGuffin's Exploring Europe. See y'all later. Thanks for joining tonight. Bye-bye.